A lot of the problems that we also face come from the military. There has been soldiers speaking out about this. I've posted a video on my YouTube channel, I've had it featured there for the last 2 weeks, about a soldier who did speak out against the atrocities that are being carried out by the government. It was a very eloquent speech. I still have it posted on my channel. I will be posting it to the Crow House later today. And the soldier was very right in saying that the governments of our world can stage whatever wars they like, and they can send as many soldiers there to fight these wars as they like, but it's up to the soldiers to fight. It's up to these soldiers whether they want to pick up their gun and to shoot other innocent people. I've always thought about the wonderful concept that what if the government staged a war and nobody showed up? Nobody showed up. None of the soldiers went to work that day. Everybody simply stayed home because nobody wants war. None of the people from any other countries want war. And soldiers are never sent to these contrived conflicts in order to promote freedom and democracy and protect the people. They are sent there for corporate reasons. They are sent there to secure control of resources against whatever false threat's been cooked up. They are sent there to basically steal the resources and rape the country at the expense of the local inhabitants. And it's all done for corporate reasons. Every war that's been fought in the last 200 years has been fought for corporate reasons. And it's time that the military, the people of the military, the soldiers, and the people of the world, the public, it's time that everybody woke up to this fact. It's really time for people to look at how this whole situation is being run and to do something to address the problem. It's time for the leaders of our world to act on these problems or step down. And it's time for we the people to demand that they do this. Barack Obama, Kevin Rudd from Australia, Gordon Brown from England, and many other world leaders. What the hell are you doing? You need to address these problems. You need to address this corrupt corporate machine, and then this corrupt monetary system, this whole fake global warming scenario, this whole climate gate issue. You need to address this right now, or we the people need to demand that you step down, because you're not doing your job. You know, what you are doing right now is a clear indication that your main allegiances lie with an international banking cartel and not with the people of your nations. Nothing that you are doing shows that you have any allegiance to the people of your nation at all. All you're doing is removing the rights and supporting a corrupt group of international banksters, and this is not acceptable. So you need to fix the problem, or you need to step down, and we the people need to organise a movement. We need to go door to door dropping pamphlets of this stuff. We need to go put ads in local papers, put flyers on the wall in the local laundromat. We need to do what we can to wake people up that it is time, right now, it is time to stand up and hold our corrupt leaders accountable for their actions. You know, give them 30 days to fix the problem or step down. And if you don't, we will demand that our police start acting the way they are paid to do and arrest these criminals. And if there's legislation in place that says that these criminals can't be arrested simply because they're politicians, then we need to find which corrupt bureaucrat enacted such legislation, and we need to press charges against them too for subverting the course of justice. It really is time to act, folks. We can talk about this and talk about this and talk about this, but it's time to stand up and realise that the only reason this system continues to function is because we allow it to function, and we have the power to effect change and to stop it whenever we want. And it's got to be done on a grassroots level. This is the best way to do it, folks. We're going to be losing our internet privileges with this censorship that's going ahead. We need to start understanding the power of community, start spreading information on a grassroots level, start waking people up to what's really going on and holding public meetings, starting little movements within your community at home, because that's where it all starts. If we can each work at fixing up our little corner of the earth, then it should go on from there. But we need to start taking some type of action to hold these leaders accountable. We know the system's corrupt, folks. We know the system's corrupt. The police need to start acting upon this corruption. They need to start doing their job. We can't really let it get too much further before we act, because the further it gets, the more centralised power becomes, the more people get brainwashed and indoctrinated into the system, and the worse it gets. I mean, we've got a lot of information there to act on, folks. We've got things like the Iraq invasion. The Iraq invasion was completely illegal, and the fact that the Obama government, the fact that the Rudd government, the fact that all of our governments are still supporting the illegal occupation of Iraq clearly shows that they're all guilty of war crimes anyway. That's one we can start with. There was actually an inquiry into the Iraq invasion that was conducted in the Netherlands recently, and they found that military action was not justified under UN resolutions, and the invasion of Iraq in 2003 was a violation of international law. And this was found by an independent inquiry in the Netherlands. And it was a damning series of findings, and it found that the actions of Tony Blair and George Bush and all the governments that supported them in the strategy of regime change in Iraq, they found that the action had no basis in international law. They released a 551-page report, and it said that no UN resolutions in the 1990s prior to the outbreak of the war gave any authority to the invasion. So this clearly shows, folks, that it was a breach of international law. I mean, you can also look at the Nuremberg Charter. It was an absolute breach of the Nuremberg Charter, which says that preemptive war is not acceptable, and that such wars are considered a war of aggression. A war of aggression is the supreme international crime. Our governments did this, and our current administrations in all of our countries still support this wholly illegal war of aggression. This needs to be addressed. This is a clear indication of the type of crime that exists at the highest levels of our government. And ClimateGate. Really, folks, like I said earlier, put it all in perspective. Imagine if you or I were caught with a falsified database for whatever business we were running, let alone a company that is promoting a world-changing, world-shattering event, the most important event that humanity has ever focused on. For there to be any indication of fraudulent activity in presenting this information to the world, this represents the most serious crime that we have ever seen. What we are seeing is the most enormous fraud that has ever been perpetrated against humanity, against the entire people of the world. Every single nation has been affected by this, every single person in every single nation. For this to be in any way linked to fraudulent behaviour is something of the utmost seriousness. And yet this issue is not being addressed by our governments, and it is being hardly touched by the mainstream media, which clearly shows that the media is complicit in keeping information from the people. The media is not there to inform you. These are very, very important matters, and these matters need to be addressed. Failure of our leaders to address these matters indicates that these people are not worthy of the position they currently hold. Failure of Congress, failure of senators, failure of premiers, failure of other members of parliament to act in order to pressure the leaders to investigate these matters also clearly shows that these lesser politicians are also complicit in a massive cover-up. And even if they are not complicit, they are held in a state of agreeance with the government by the particular party they belong in, because when a politician joins a party, then he is no longer able to think for himself. He must act in the best interest of the party. And when both parties are controlled by the same criminal banking cartel, well, it wraps things up very tidily. But the fact that this is happening, and the fact that this is perpetuated, and that the members of parliament, the members of our government don't do anything to stop it, well, this shows that these people are either in on the whole thing, or they're operating in a state of fear, and either way, they're not fit to hold the positions that they hold. I mean, I really can't see the need for inaction by anybody. I can't see any valid reason for politicians not to be acting upon this information. I can see no valid reason for media not to be addressing what is potentially the most important issue man has ever faced, which is the ClimateGate fraud, and not to be investigating the criminals in our government, the criminals in our media, the criminals in all of our major corporate institutions and our educational institutions, and addressing this problem. But it's simply not happening, and it really is the most important issue. It really is such an important issue, folks, because this just shows you, look at it, I mean, folks, really, it just shows you exactly what's going on with this criminal element.